Today I'm going to talk about the Enigma Cube from the Alien Artifact series by Douglas E. Richards. Now, this is a book that's done extremely well. The author is another indie success story. This is a self-published book. He's a New York Times and US Today bestseller, and he's written lots of books. And this is an author whose books have succeeded on their ideas. Really, his imagination is wonderful, and people get inspired by his books, I think, because of the ethical dilemmas and the science in them. The science tends to be based on research, and at the end of the books, he explains what's real about the science in the books and what's not. So that's an interesting part of his books and something that readers really like. The Enigma Cube is a fascinating object. It's basically a box which they can't move. They've been studying it for years in this facility that was actually built around this object because they can't move it. Justin is an ex-commando who's sent to be a protective detail. So nothing has happened with this cube for years, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose. The cube disappears. How did somebody move it? Before you know it, Justin and Kelly are running for their lives. So this is a thriller, and it's got lots of twists and turns. The story is great. It really does keep you reading. It is one of those books that will keep you up at night. So be careful when you read it if you like a good night's sleep. He is a brilliant storyteller. The twists, the turns, the things that happen, the surprises, all of that keeps you reading and just keeps you riveted to the page. And the concepts, the questions that the stories raise, even though the stories are fictional, the ethical concerns that they raise and the philosophical questions are very real and very relevant. So his success is because of that. And both the books in this series are well worth reading. However, they're only 4.5 stars for me, not 5 stars. And that's because the books could be better. Unfortunately, the author has a couple of bad habits, and he gets away with them because his ideas are so great, because he is such a great storyteller. The characters could be deepened, and I don't think that would have to slow the pace at all. It's all in the writing. Some people say his writing's great, and I think they're referring to the stories. Other people say his writing's terrible, and that's because they're referring to the prose and his approach. And that's because, in actual fact, a lot of it is expositional writing. By expositional writing, I mean he's telling rather than showing. So it's more like a report. It's like you're standing outside the story and you're being told the story. You could be drawn much more into the story if he used active prose rather than passive prose. His expositional prose is very good in that style of prose. So I'm just saying it could be better. And if you worked with an editor who knew how to turn passive prose into active prose, then voila, his books really would be brilliant. He has another bad habit, something that really actually kind of irritates me, and that's his habit with the second book in a series. At the beginning, he does this massive info dump about the story so far, and it's not like just a couple of paragraphs, it's pages and pages and pages. And if you've just read the previous book, it's like, oh, let me get on with the story. It's completely unnecessary. I know people think, oh, well, you need to remind the reader what the story was of the book before because it could be years. But after the 2 books or the 3 books in the series are published, new readers tend to read them bang, 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 one after another. And even if there has been a gap, there are more skillful ways to weave the backstory into the present story. You don't have to just tell it in one dump. And that's the other thing. He does do a few info dumps through his books. Again, information being delivered that could be done more skillfully. And yet, the books are great regardless, so long as you don't find those things overshadow the wonderful story and the great ideas and the ethical questions, which all I find really, really interesting. So Douglas E. Richards' books are great reads if you don't require deep characterization, if you want just a really good story and your brain engaged, particularly with ethical questions. And to give you some idea of what I'm talking about, in the Enigma Cube, they go back in time to the time of the Nazis. And there they have the opportunity to kill Hitler. But the repercussions of doing that could be huge. How are they going to change reality by changing the past if they do something like kill Hitler? Now, mostly we would just think, oh, if you had the chance to kill Hitler and save all those people that he slaughtered, yes, you do it. But in this situation, it's not quite so clear cut, because it comes at a time where if Hitler was removed, somebody even worse could have taken over. And so there we have it. The Enigma Cube by Douglas E. Richards, and 4.5 stars from me. And if you want more of my reviews, then please don't forget to press the button wherever it happens to appear. I'll catch you next time. Bye.